Back in his hotel room, Helt's secure, bug-proof smartphone rings. On the line is Werner.
After the takeover of the government in Guinea-Bissau by Volkov, your mission, Helt, has gained an unexpectedly high level of urgency and significance. It is expected that this action could be a first trial run for further, potentially much larger coups worldwide. Due to your current position in Jordan and proximity to Elena, we have urged the intelligence agencies of the rest of the Western world to exercise restraint. You have 48 hours to implement your mission objectives.
Understood. I'll get in touch later.
Punctually at 3 p.m., Helt arrives at the agreed meeting point. Elena is already waiting for him and greets him with her captivating smile.
Good morning, Mr. Müller. I have a very special surprise prepared for you.
I'm very excited, Elena, and I trust you completely to make my days here in Amman an unforgettable experience.
I hope you're wearing good footwear. We're going to walk through the most beautiful neighborhoods of the old town in Amman.
After about half an hour of walking, the two arrive at an inconspicuous building in the old town. Behind a locked metal door, which she accesses through a personal connection, a narrow staircase leads deep underground. There, she shows him a massive, ancient cistern built by the Nabataeans or Romans. The space is illuminated by the flickering light of small lamps mounted on the walls. The water remaining in parts of the cistern reflects the glow, casting an almost magical atmosphere over the surroundings. Helt is struck by the cistern's appearance, its sheer size and presumed historical significance, but increasingly also by Elena's irresistible demeanor and captivating presence. She turns to him, her voice soft and full of pride.
This place used to be used to supply the entire city with water. Today, hardly anyone knows about this treasure.
Which only reaches its perfection when you describe it, Elena.
Helt adds, hoping she will give him that look one more time, a look that could effortlessly make him forget why he's even here. Instead, Elena lowers her head sadly, as if abruptly waking from a beautiful dream and being pulled back into a merciless reality.
It is a great pleasure for me to share all of this with you.
Elena responds after a brief moment of inner reflection.
There are many places of unity and peace here, with great strength and magic, that temporarily free me from a sorrowful everyday life.
What do you mean by that?
I share my joy about what I have discovered and deeply appreciate with the tourists and today with you, as I have no one else.
What about your family?
Elena responds, somewhat sadly.
My husband, Dmitri, prevents any contact with her. I have a mother and a brother in Bulgaria. I also had a younger sister who, however, passed away early due to a heart defect. A treatment abroad could have saved her, but we lacked the money for it. When I was hired as a tour guide for a group of military personnel from Kazakhstan in Sofia, I met Dmitri, who was clearly very taken with me. He proposed to me without even truly knowing me. My parents pressured me into this marriage because Dmitri, as a high-ranking officer, was very wealthy, and above all, my father never wanted to face the situation again where one of his children suffered due to poverty. He passed away about a year after I moved to Jordan to live with Dmitri. I still believe it was his broken heart when he realized what he must have done to me. As long as I do what Dmitri expects of me, he treats me well. However, he sees me as his property. When I threatened that I couldn't live like this any longer, he relented and allowed me to work here, though in a very restricted manner. He won't admit it, but I'm certain I have hidden watchers by my side most of the time while I work. Still, my work is a small window for me, just wide enough to let the few rays of sunlight shine into my heart. I don't take money for it. That's not necessary.
Helt responds with an unusually empathetic tone.
One fights with a cage from the outside, the other deep within. I wonder which one is easier to escape from.
You built your cage yourself, Enrico. Please don't compare that.
No sooner has she said this than she turns on her heel and walks back toward the large entrance gate of the cistern.
Elena, wait.
The two leave the building and are greeted by a local in an off-road vehicle at the edge of the bustling street in the old town.
Are you ready for the second part of our excursion? I've arranged a camel ride in one of the most beautiful desert landscapes near Amman, Wadi Rum.
With you, I'd probably even go for a ride on a hippopotamus, so let's go.
Fine.
Elena responds, a smile once again gracing her lips as the two get into the vehicle with the driver. During the roughly 4-hour drive, Elena steers the conversation toward Helt's daughter.
How is it for you to see little Leah on your shared weekend?
She is like the sun in a life full of storms and rain for me. When I look at her to say goodbye and gaze into her big sad eyes, I wonder why I never managed to give her a proper family. Teresa and I sat together for nights at the end, debating our relationship. She often told me that she had lost sight of me because I had increasingly withdrawn from both of them, under the pretense of having professional responsibilities. I suppose I did that. I still can't explain why I behaved that way.
Love can be very beautiful, but it can also make you very vulnerable. Enrico, I believe you were afraid of yourself, scared of becoming vulnerable and approachable.
Shortly after, the rugged vehicle arrives in the serene landscapes of Wadi Rum, also known as the Valley of the Moon, a breathtaking and majestic desertscape in southern Jordan unfolds before them. The region is characterized by towering sandstone and granite formations that rise dramatically from vast plains of red sand. A camel handler is already waiting for them with two stately, vibrantly adorned desert animals. Elena, well-versed with handling the animals, guides Helt, who sits somewhat uncertainly and cautiously on the camel, through narrow canyons and beneath natural rock bridges. Eventually, they reach a hilltop where they witness the deep orange sun setting over the seemingly endless desert horizon. As the sun nearly disappears and the landscape is veiled in twilight, the two ride back toward the vehicle.
The night in Wadi Rum, with its unparalleled starry sky, would probably impress you as well. But perhaps I don't want to expose you to the danger of encountering the horned viper or the death stalker on our very first trip.
That's very kind of you, Elena. I'm not used to being exposed to such dangers. But perhaps it would disturb me much more to gaze at the desert night sky with someone like you and married on the side.
Elena smirks slightly, and the two climb into the vehicle. About an hour into their drive, a deafening bang shatters the silence as one of the SUV's tires bursts. The driver skillfully stabilizes the vehicle and brings it to a halt. While waiting for the tire to be replaced, Elena and Helt take the opportunity to savor the serene nighttime desert atmosphere from a rock by the roadside. Suddenly, Helt pulls Elena sharply into his arms as he spots a highly venomous snake appearing pitch black in the moonlight, gliding toward her. Almost simultaneously, he hurls a rock at the creature, causing it to dart away in a flash. Elena makes no attempt to pull away from Helt's protective embrace, instead looking up at him with a mix of relief and gratitude. She softly says,
Thank you, Enrico. Considering that we'll be stuck here for a while, you've probably saved my life.
Helt responds after a brief moment of hesitation.
Adrian Helt is my name.
Elena frees herself from Helt's arms and responds, surprised.
Adrian? What kind of game are you playing with me?
It was not entirely coincidental that we met at the Wild Jordan Center. I am an agent of the German Federal Intelligence Service, and we have your husband, Dmitri, in our sights. He is almost certainly the right hand of a powerful oligarch named Letitia Volkov, who possesses the technology and power to violently destabilize and reshape entire states, which we see as a major threat to the global order. Perhaps you've heard of the events in Guinea-Bissau.
And now you're trying to tell me that Dmitri has something to do with this?
It is probably a bitter truth.
Actually, I have heard the name Letitia Volkov before. Beyond that, Dmitri doesn't grant me any insight into his activities. It's always military secret, which he used as an excuse. He also got very angry whenever I asked him where he spends most of his days, so eventually I stopped asking.
With a fearful expression and a soft voice, she asks Helt,
What could I possibly do for the German intelligence service?
Elena, first and foremost, I want to tell you that you mean more to me than just a mission parameter. I will make sure that you are freed from your prison of marriage to an aggressive despot and can live a safe life with your family in Bulgaria, if that's what you want. I promise you that.
What can I do?
We need to know where Letitia Volkov is located. We suspect that a highly specialized Korean scientist is unintentionally in her immediate vicinity, giving her access to one of the most advanced military-grade artificial intelligences. Time is unfortunately running out.
Elena looks at Helt for a long moment and finally responds, her head slightly lowered.
Dmitri is rather careless at home, where he feels safe, letting his otherwise meticulous caution slip. I know where he hides the key to a secure document compartment in his desk. Knowing him, I'd bet there are documents in there that could reveal his connections to Letitia Volkov. I'm willing to get those documents for you if you keep your word.
Helt notices how Elena tightly holds his hand with both of hers.
Please take care of yourself, Elena. We'll meet tomorrow at 11 a.m. in the city. Does that work for you, and do you have a suggestion for somewhere we can talk without being disturbed?
11 o'clock at the Rumi Café in Jabal al-Webde. I think that's a suitable place.
Once the vehicle is repaired and ready to go, Elena and Helt continue their journey back to Amman. Arriving in his hotel room, Helt lies down on the bed and stares at the ceiling, which is made of dark wood adorned with golden Arabic patterns. It is well past midnight, and an oppressive silence fills the room. It doesn't take long before he drifts into a pensive sleep. Around 10:30 in the morning, there's a knock at the door.
Room service? May I come in?
Held jolts awake, finding himself still in the sandy clothes from the previous evening, lying on the bed. After a quick freshen up in the bathroom and a change of clothes, he finds himself a short while later in a taxi heading to Jabal al-Webde. Upon arrival, Elena is already waiting for him in the outdoor area of the Rumi Café. She sits at one of the rustic wooden tables in the back, shaded by an olive tree. Elegantly dressed, she wears a light headscarf that accentuates her mysterious green eyes. As Helt takes a seat across from her, she pulls out her phone.
Here are photos of the documents I considered most relevant. Dmitri really recorded all the key details from his past in some sort of diary. There were also older blueprints of a modular facility located in the jungle of Serrania de la Macarena near the Rio Guayabero in Colombia in Dmitri's document compartment. The facility appears to have been built on the site of an abandoned drug factory. Additional documents reveal that this location, equipped with cutting-edge technology, seems to control subordinate command stations worldwide. It must have involved an enormous amount of money. The papers indicate that the facility was constructed in the inaccessible jungle within just 6 months. Dmitri must have led Volkov's personal guard in earlier years, a unit she established for her protection in Kazakhstan. This likely created a strong bond of trust between the two, even though Dmitri left her service after 3 years for a high-ranking military position in the country. About 2 years ago, Volkov reached out to him again, as he writes, but only through telegram or video calls. He found this unusual, but she explained that it was due to the security needs of a world-changing mission. While knowing Dmitri, it was certainly about money, a lot of money.
Held reaches for Elena's hand as he notices her voice trembling slightly with fear.
What have I gotten myself into? What should I do now, Adrian?
Send me the photos to my phone, pack the essentials, and come to my hotel in Abdun. Everything will be arranged to get you out of here. I can take care of it all. Can you safely return to your estate?
Dmitri has been away from home for 2 days now. He must be on one of his missions. I'll tell the guards that I'm taking some of my things to the cleaners and running a few errands in town afterward. I'll have them drop me off a few streets away from the Four Seasons Hotel and hope they drive off. Adrian, don't think I'm agreeing to something like this lightly, especially with a man I barely know. But I have this feeling, one I can't explain, telling me that what I'm doing is the right thing. Your unique nature, a mix of strength and vulnerability, I find incredibly attractive, and it gives me a sense of safety I've never felt before. Forgive me for speaking so openly, but I felt like you should know this.
Helt gazes silently into her eyes for a few seconds before replying,
Even I have rarely met a woman as remarkable and attractive, with so many beautiful qualities. Perhaps it's just fate that we crossed paths under such tangled circumstances, and maybe we should simply take the time we have for each other once all of this is over.
Elena closes her eyes and lowers her head into Helt's arms, which hold her tightly, as if unwilling to ever let her go.
We'll meet shortly at your hotel.
Shortly. Take good care of yourself.
Elena, who has already tied her headscarf back on and started walking briskly away, turns around one last time.
We'll see each other later. Trust me.
Helt lingers by the table for a moment, standing still, watching her with a pensive and slightly worried expression.